r/ask Reddit. What are people slowly starting to forget? How much time and energy goes into making the stuff all around you? Everybody knows exactly how a pencil works, but no one can create a normal pencil by himself. There's an excellent take on this in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Dude is suddenly planted on a primitive planet. He speaks to the local people about wonders beyond their imagination, of electricity, of carriages drawn by their own power, of guns, of HVAC systems, pens, synthetic fabrics etc. etc. The local people then ask him how can we have all this? And he realizes, holy shit, he has no clue how any of that shit works. He can't design a refrigerator or a power plant. He can't even innovate their methods for cleaning water because he took all that shit for granted. So, he thinks hard. How can he innovate? What does he really understand on a useful level that could change their life? Well, turns out, the one thing he can do that they can't get enough of is making sandwiches. Thin sliced meat layered on sliced bread is the most exciting damn thing they've ever seen. So ask yourself, if you were dropped into a primitive society, what could you really show them? What do you really understand? If the answer is nothing, get really good at layering ingredients. That people cough for other reasons too. Editing. Row. Many thanks to the kind people who gave me my first gold and silver award and all the other kind messages. Panama Papers. Unpopular opinion. The main reason people are forgetting about it is because most of the people implicated weren't American, Western European, which Reddit heavily markets towards. Seeing Messi and Putin's questionable finances isn't going to have the same effect that seeing Clinton, Trump, or any major American celebrity's wealth would. Felicity Huffman and the college cheating scandal got way more coverage for a reason. When to own something you had to pay only once. Now almost everything is subscription based, requires paid upgrades, DLC, plugins and so on. Just looked at buying a treadmill for cold weather and stormy days, and what do you know? Almost all the brands available in brick and mortar stores require subscriptions before you can turn them on for the first time. $180 if for the privilege of operating a $1,200 machine in my own dwelling. It's not even about software anymore. Even physical goods are subject to this. You own something for a few years and then you update Brexit. Time to buy a newer version. World War I. No veterans left and overshadowed by World War II. On a similar note, the Korean War. Overshadowed by Vietnam, although there are still veterans alive. Most of the world since World War I has been fallout from World War I, World War II, Soviet Union, Middle East chaos, all basically trace back to World War I. Also the rise of America, which was prior to that seen as a bit of a backwater. Literally the Wild West was happening. That the US had the longest government shutdown not that long ago. I actually did forget that. As a federal employee, I have not forgotten. The Clowns with Knives of 2016. Do we even know what that was all actually about? I heard it was supposed to be an independent movie being made or something. I also wonder if it was just a prank that people kept copying over and over. And WTF was it even about? I will forever choose to believe it was supposed to be some marketing campaign for the first IT movie, but then people started doing it themselves and it got out of control, so they never owned up to it. What a world war is really like. Foreshadowing. The Patriot Act allows the government to take everything of yours without charge and lock you up indefinitely as long as they deem it a national security issue without any proof. National security meaning whatever the hell they want it to mean. National security is the card countries play when humans' rights need to be violated legally. That Reddit is just another social media platform susceptible to misinformation, full of ignorant, corruptible and misguided people. Edit. Wow, just woke up and found my first ever awards. Thanks strangers, but I only reflect and repeat wisdom of people wiser than me. No it isn't. I know for sure that my knowledge on everything is right. Why else would thousands of other people say the same thing after reading the same article as me? The article is definitely accurate. 2. It agrees with me and I'm right. So it's obviously right. Phone numbers. When's the last time you actually memorized one? It drives me crazy that some people don't even have their own cell phone numbers memorized. Yes, I worked at a phone store, and people would come in to pay their bill. I would ask for their phone number and they would pull the "I don't know, I don't call myself." Ha 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 rug. Like, listen old man, you don't send yourself mail either, but you know you're ducking address. Netflix that would arrive in the mail. They still offer that service yo. Hong Kong protests. Tibet. Uyghurs in concentration camps. Israel-Palestine conflicts. Basically every social issue has been destroyed by COVID. Also, a little homophobic genocide in Chechnya. That the quarantines and lockdowns were to slow the spread of COVID-19 and not to eradicate it. I would say a lot of people aren't forgetting it. They straight never understood it. Just the other day my siblings and I were talking to my dad and he asked us how many people we thought were going to get the virus. None of us was able to get him to understand that the answer was probably everyone. It's like he's in denial or something. Democracy isn't a given. Even when you're told you have it, it's not a given you actually do. Others' past embarrassments, even though we still hold on to ours. Now I don't forget the guy who farted in the quiet zone of the library. It happens and I feel for him, but I still remember. Yeah, the fact that I still remember some other people's embarrassing stuff means some people remember mine. That a government should fear its people, not the other way around. Politicians need to be reminded that they work for us, not the other way around. The fires in Australia. That wasn't that long ago. But it feels like 10 years. This whole year has felt like 10 years and it's only May. Perception of time slows with the more unique experiences you have. This year has been crazy and full of uncertainty, whereas past years might have flown by because every day wasn't all that unique. That before the EPA and environmental ordinances, the pollution was so bad that major cities occasionally had days they had to keep the streetlights on during the day because the sun was blotted out. This is legit. That's crazy. My dad died a week ago, starting to forget his voice, face and himself. I'm very sorry. My mom died 5 years ago. I do have trouble recalling her voice and mannerisms sometimes, but there's this scene of her stuck in my head. I go to that somehow preserved such things. I hope you have some voicemails or video. They really help a lot. How big a deal Princess Diana was. Think Meghan Markle x 10,000. How much of a wildfire her death was. How it was all the whole damn world obsessed about for months. I remember my mom crying when her funeral was on TV. She said something about how sad she was for those poor kids being without their mom at such a young age. What I forgot for the longest time was that this was only about 3 months after my mom was diagnosed with MS. She died within a year of the diagnosis. I think a big part of her crying about William and Harry losing their mom was thinking about me and my sister if she died. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer linked to asbestos exposure. Exposure to asbestos in the Navy, shipyards, mills, heating, construction or the automotive industries may put you at risk. Please don't wait. Call 1-800-99-LAW-USA today for a free legal consultation and financial information packet. Mesothelioma patients call now. 1-800-99-LAW-USA. If you or a loved one had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after using Roundup weed killer, you may be entitled to a significant financial compensation. Brexit, unless you are British or European, it's still a pretty big topic and will be again when the 2-year changeover thing is up. That weird period around 2007ish when everybody owned one of those big red bullshit buttons. I remember every teacher in middle school had a Staples that was easy button and really got a kick out of pressing it. How to navigate using a paper map. Forget using a map, just being spatially aware of geography. I know too many people who don't know where one town or area is relative to another. They just go turn by turn all the time. Conversely, I never developed good spatial awareness of where I live until I explored around on online maps and started to understand where things were in relation to each other. Paper travel maps are so full of extra information and hardly help if you don't already know where you are on the map, assuming you even are on the map. For PC gaming, that games used to have an unlimited lifespan. You could just modify a game in any way you like it, because it was normal to see total conversions or server-side mods that completely change your game. Nowadays the average game has about a 2-year lifespan and maybe about 4 years before the company decides servers will be shut down. People have been making classic Doom maps for 26 years now, with no signs of stopping. I almost can't imagine any other game having such longevity. I know things like Minecraft, GTA, BeamNG, Skyrim, etc. have had active modding scenes for years, but it's hard imagining that they would go on for that long. Polio, and generally a world without vaccines. Every time I see unprecedented in the media these days I think, oh, it's precedented. You just don't remember it. The Tesla in space. I feel like there is a dead hooker in that trunk. Close to the perfect crime really. That it is okay to agree to disagree and still have a civilized conversation. That fact overrule your emotions and or feelings. The skill of repairing something instead of replacing it. Working 5 days a week. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.